KPBS On Demand is supported by UC San Diego's Art Power, presenting cellist Joshua Roman, performing from his album Immunity, alongside music by J.S. Bach and more, Sunday, June 22nd at UC San Diego's Epstein Family Amphitheater. Reserve your tickets at artpower.ucsd.edu.
That's the sound of the Frizzi to Fulci concert that started last Tuesday night at the Abattoir Horror Film Festival in Wales. That's right, I'm in Wales attending this horrifically good little horror festival in the UK, and delighted to bring you my first interview from the festival. This is the first KPBS Cinema Junkie podcast from across the pond, and I'm Beth Accomando. I had the pleasure of seeing Italian composer Fabio Frizzi perform his tribute concert to director Lucio Fulci in LA last month. And on Tuesday, I had a chance to not only see the concert again, but finally to get an interview with the man who had composed so many memorable horror scores to films like Zombie 2, The Beyond, and City of the Living Dead. I had tried to interview Frizzi in LA, but his sound check for the concert went long, and I had to cross my fingers for another shot in Wales. This time, the sound check ended early enough for me to grab a 30-minute interview. Frizzi, who also composed scores for spaghetti westerns and Italian TV comedies, has a knack for delivering the unexpected, even when working in familiar genres. And at 64, he's continuing to work and to innovate, as he now meets young filmmakers on the internet and composes scores on his computer. On stage, he plays guitar, sings, and uses a computer with a musical keyboard to wow the audience.
Now years ago, very well.
He also has gifted musicians and the exceptional vocalist Giulietta Zanardi to share the stage with him. So without further ado, here's my interview with Fabio Frizzi from Abattoir.
After he killed your father, now
You seemed very energized from your concerts in the United States. How was that?
It was really a blast. We couldn't imagine. We just hoped to have success, to meet many friends. But you know, when you start for the first time for a project, a side project. I mean, I can say that it was really a dream. You know, America. I had been in the States before, but it's one of the places. London, the States, and so where we found when we were younger many inspirations and so, and many groups, many bands, many movies. So you go to the States and play to the States your music. It's great like a project, but you till the moment you are not you have not approved of this, you say, wow, maybe okay. Then we got to know that Austin was almost full, and then LA was full, and then some problems in two other places. But when we arrived, it was full. I'm quite romantic. I mean, like person. I mean, I love friends. I love to be loved. I mean, and also when you do a work like this, you write music. If someone says, I love your music, it's one of the best things. And over there it was so many. Also some friends like you and that I met again. But also many new people, new friends, new fans. And it was, every night was for me and for my crew, for my band, was really a surprise, something fantastic.
Now, you called this concert tour Frizzi to Fulci, so why did you decide for your first tour of the United States to do this particular...
For Fulci, it's a passport. I wrote tons of music during my life. The people who know me better know that my production is from the ballet to some songs to a lot of TV series, TV conducting for shows. But my first love, and still my love, is the cinema. And Lucio was has been the person, as I told you, from whom I learned more. And then, sure, the person that left me more when he went away. I mean, everyone gives you something when you work with. But Lucio, it's like an heritage. We didn't see each other during his last years, because it was a little. We didn't have the chance to meet. But when the net began to grow, everyone told me, Fabio, your scores for Lucio. Yeah. So it's like an heritage. It's like a grandpa or something, or an old brother or father or something like this. And I know that is a passport in the sense that many of my real friends know that I've written comedies. Many of me knows that I have written other kind of music. But Lucio is like a knife. And you can open your cucumber in one moment. He is very loved. I think that he was really a great movie maker. But you know why? Because he loved his job. And he knew his job. He knew how to work. So many people in this kind of fields, you can assist to people that say, I love music, so I do. I'm doing the composer, the musician. But it's not so easy. I mean, it's not only the fact that you have studied something, but it's very important that you have something to say, something to tell. And Lucio really has so many things in, because we are celebrating most of all the horror, the fantasy, but also, for example, there is an actor, I'm sure you know, but one of the most important comedy actors in Italy was called Alberto Sordi. He was a comic, great. He did, I think, 200 movies with a big success. He used to tell stories about the well and the bad of the Italians. So really great. I met him. He was a friend of family, and he was a great man, and he was a great actor. And there is a movie called Un Americano a Roma, an American in Rome, which is the story of a guy who was it's after the war, so the Americans are strong. So and he speaks like if he was an American. No, Americani, they eat this, they and like John Wayne, like doing like this. And this was a great success. Now also nowadays, if you take a look to this with some friends, you cannot stay, but you laugh so much because, and that was the screenplay writer was Lucio Fulci, was the most. So he did so many things. He had it was a. I always say it wasn't an easy person. He had many problems in his life, but he loved this job. And every time you were talking with him about a new movie, a new story, he was absolutely happy.
So what kind of a working relationship did you have in terms of creating the scores? Did you get to see footage before you wrote music? Did he hear stuff and then give you feedback? I mean, what was that collaboration like?
Well, let's say that it was the typical collaboration that I had learned some time before, and that still now when I do a movie, I like to do. Obviously, the first thing when do you understand that a director gives you a job for that score? When he gives you the script. Because if he says, take a look, that you understand that maybe he wants you to write the music for this. So, Lucio, I found 2 months ago the script of Zombie, incredible, in my house. The script where I began to work on. So, this is the first. You read, you understand the mood, the story, you understand if you are... Usually, if you write scores for movies, you know where to go, but sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse. Then Lucio had always the right idea. I mean, since the beginning of the job of the movie, of the new movie, in a few words, he could let me understand what he needed. I've recently seen a movie that speaks about, that tells about that moment in Italy, at Berberian Sound Studios. A great movie with some little errors in it because there is no passion. I told it to my new friend Mary. This is the only, but the situation is really similar, no? For the effect, you had the fruit, or for stepping, you had the something real always, but in that movie maybe you cannot find the real passion because it's a story like this, and they want to demonstrate how the things can become unlivable. Okay. And sometimes it happened, no, that you were with a taxi receipt and they say, okay, tomorrow, but you will never see that money. But the thing that I found in that movie about Lucio was that Lucio had the idea of the plan of the sounds. I mean, not only music, not only effect, but voices, back voices, maybe you cannot hear, or many things that you could believe not useful, but in the end, the front of that sound was totally useful. He has this idea, so he brought everyone by hand till his idea and his result. I mean, obviously, I used to do some demo. Then in that moment was with piano. We didn't have so many technical things like today, but then we used to listen to. He had also good musical ideas. He was in the field since then, and then the moment, the most important moment was the mixing. When after putting the music on the single reel. Going to the mix. This could give you some beautiful surprises. So, but also some bad surprises. I don't like this. I don't like that. But this is the life of a musician for the movies.
How did you go about, or what did you think was the most important thing in creating some of these scores for the horror films? What were you kind of going for in the music? Because a lot of your music is kind of unexpected for what a horror film is. You're not taking the cliched route. So when you were tackling these things, what was going through your head about what you wanted to do with the sound?
I put myself in front of the movie always in the same way. I mean, if this is a comedy, for me the most important thing is to wear the story. Like if you were the most important actor, or the director, or the producer, you must like a dress, you like a T-shirt. You have, and you must feel it of your, like if it was yours since then. It's logical. I sit in front of a piano, or in front of a guitar, with my guitar in my hands, or something else, but. It's not me that I cannot push the ideas I had. They must come. It's like a person that sometimes I ask the help of an instrument, because I said that every instrument gives you something different. In my studio, I have a school of music in Roma, and we have 4 pianos. And sometimes I go to the Yamaha or to the other one. And I know that the different sound can, and the story that I have heard, can give me some new idea. Then I usually record nowadays. It's easy with your telephone. I record just singing like a mad, with my piano, and then those lines remains. And after a while, after maybe the week after, I go to the computer. I collect those crazy ideas, and I take a white piece of paper with for writing music. And I begin to understand what I told to this to this telephone, and if there is something, and then like I think like a painter, like you draw something, and then okay, this is and now you go ahead. I think that there is always the first moment must be instinct. The second moment must be profession. This is, I think, for every kind of jobs, but for our job, for writing music, it's absolutely necessary. Those two, you must be naked in the beginning. Then you must have your situation of not studied, but your experience that helps you.
I've noticed that you're doing scores for a lot of short films now. What's the appeal of that? Are these people that you're friends with and you want to do it, or do you just like the challenge of the different format?
Let's say that many people, the net is like this. Hello, Mr. Frizzi, I'm a huge fan of you. And maybe every week it happens like this. But there are some situations that are different. Because I love every time that someone says, please read this idea, but I cannot do really everything. So there are different situations. For example, the three pieces I played during the concert, the Frizzi to Fulci concert, are linked to Lucio. Why? Because every one of those directors and producers are fans of Lucio. I cannot say if they began loving cinema because of Lucio, but they know very well this link, and this is the thing that the first time I couldn't be in the beginning. You know me quite well, and then I know that I don't know if I can say in English, but with my feet on the pavement, I'm on earth. I think I'm quite lucky to do this job, but it's difficult to me to believe that I am a great musician. Everyone lives his life like some normal life. I do my job. I try to. Then I'm happy when somebody says or thinks so. The first situation was about two, I think, good directors who comes from France, from Costa Azzurra, Côte d'Azur, and it was a meeting on the internet. The first time I decided to try to do a short. It wasn't really a short. It's a medium because I think it's 40 minutes or something like this. I decided they came in Roma, and I told them, because I am older than you, and I'm just treat me like if I were your young musician. Just tell me what you want for this. And we worked for Beware of Darkness, like this. If it was the contrary, if I were a young composer and they were old directors. It was a formula that I loved so much because it was useful to me to understand also the lines of these young people in a new kind of cinema, no? Very different from the one I came from. And for them, because they understood that which can be the relationship with a musician, a serious, a musician that does this job, not just let's do this, no? And I can tell you that in the end, I had wrote, I think the end title. The movie was, I think, I don't remember very well, but something like the 80s ambience. And one of them called me and said, this, you could change, please, the drums, because it's not so... And I did this, and I sent them back. Now, so this was the first experience. Then a new friend, it's Mark Stinsland, is a professor, is a teacher, university teacher in the States. He had many experience. We met on the net, and another really great person. We met recently during the state tour, and Mark had a story, The Weeping Woman, which was a story from an English writer, and he proposed me that thing. You know what is all the time? It's strange. When I write a theme. And I send them to Mark and to Scooter McCrae. The last one, the movie is coming out just in this moment, called Saint Frankenstein. And every one of them, when I send through the net, they say that they had, they were moved. Listen, they could cry. I don't know, something like this. And. For the mean theme, I wrote for the main character of the movie, and for me it's so incredible, no? To know that, and every one of them give me the most important place in doing the movie. Now, when I say no, it's not my movie. It's my movie with your music. This is so kind from them. Then and you begin. To become like a family, a cinema family. And I think that this is something very good to go ahead with this love. Cinema is not easy to do, also in the States. The crisis is very... But it's something that I'm sure will never die completely, because there is... There are so many people that love him so much, and it will remain always alive.
Now you're talking about sending music over the internet and meeting these young filmmakers on the internet. So how do you feel changes in technology have changed either the kind of music you compose or just the approach you take?
Luckily, I always loved this way, this going ahead. I was telling before that I love also music for strings, and you, when you are with an orchestra and a traditional orchestra, if the electricity goes away, you go ahead playing. Nowadays, it's quite difficult to do the same thing. But I think that human beings can adapt themselves to what is changing. It's not easy. You must have a predisposition. I don't know, to be prepared to have this. But I always loved the computer since the first Commodore, and after the very first Apple, and always in the net. I was in the net in Italy. I think I was one of the really first. I think in the beginning of the 90s, so first, maybe also something before. And I always thought that it was a great opportunity. Talking about technology in music, I think something different. I think that everything is a way of doing your job. So the white paper, for me, it's totally the same thing as a great software that helps you. You must have some ideas in your head. If you don't have these, you cannot do anything.
Now, you're here at Abattoir Horror Film Festival. This isn't a huge city or anything like Los Angeles.
No.
What made you decide to choose this as one of the sites for your concerts?
Well, you know, I told you before, I am a romantic man. And I came here a couple of years ago as a guest, just telling my story and having people like you that met me, and it was so beautiful. And I can tell you that people here are incredible. The organization, I could tell this almost of every place I visit, like festival, but here it's something very special. You know, the place, first of all, Aberystwyth is a piece of story, a little piece of story on the sea, on the Irish Sea. And when you arrive here, it's really like to enter in a movie. It's a little town, but with everything, castle on the sea. Yesterday we were there, and I did a couple of pictures, and no, it's not possible. It's fantastic. And then people here who work with a great passion, who drove this situation. This is the 10th. Tonight we will open the 10th edition of this. So when they told me, we are a little, but we would like to have you. But why not? I think that sometimes little things are the better. And more, I can tell you that it's like I say to my friend, to my children, that nowadays I feel like if the world, it's a little town, because in a few hours you can be everywhere, no? And it's like if, and when I go, like it was in the States, and I feel at home. Also, if I'm so far, I am at home, in fact. And here in Aberystwyth, I am really at home.
Now, is there anything you can talk about in terms of any future plans you have for more concerts? Because you seem very excited about having come to the United States and possibly eager to return. So do you have plans?
It was so beautiful to be there that the day we were, I can tell you that on the plane from Philadelphia to Roma, we were planning, now we must go back as soon as possible. And in the days, just the days after, we had so many people of other cities. But you didn't come in Seattle, or the, and we thought, we can come next time. Now, so. We feet on the earth, but and also I am not so young, so you know these are very stressing moments in traveling and hotel and traveling and playing. But I think that if everything will go the right way, next year we will try to do something also a little longer than this one. Many towns, many cities, many friends, and this about Frizzi to Fulci. Then we are planning. Obviously, you know, we say in Italiano that the appetite comes eating. You know, if you eat well, next time you want to eat more, and you know what I mean. And around Lucio and around my life, my career, there are many possibilities. No? For example, there was a project that I did almost 20 years ago about Italian cinema in symphonic. In this case, I had collected so many original scores from my older friends, musicians for cinema. I'm speaking about Nino Rota, that I had the chance to meet one time, and then Carlo Rustichelli, and Also Ennio Morricone who didn't give me a song, but he told me that I could write down the arrangement, and I loved him so much, so I wrote quite well, I can tell you. And Piovani and Trovaioli and many others. So I have this repertoire on a shelf, and I decided that maybe this could be the moment of put also Fabio Frizzi in the field of the composers, and try next year, or maybe in 2 years, to do a production about this, telling the story of the Italian cinema, telling about 60s, 70s, 50s also something, through my old friends.
That would be fabulous. Now, you mentioned that of all the things you do, that you do love composing for cinema the most. What is it about composing for movies that you find so appealing and so satisfying?
I think that the most important thing in life is getting to know yourself the best. It's not easy, you know. I was for years and years, for a long time, with what now is one of my best friend, a woman that helped me for 11 years to understand who I am. And I think that when you do something like a score for a movie in the right way, you discover something of you. The more and more. So maybe this is because it's always a challenge. It's always so difficult. But since then, since I began, this maybe is everything gives you something. But this gave me much more than the other things.
And what do you think some of the things you learned about yourself working with Fulci?
This is an interesting question, but we would need, I think, 3 weeks to tell what I think. I think it wasn't easy. It was I was young. I was a little shy. I was I could say with an education from my family, and it wasn't easy to afford this job because it was very rough. But you know, you grow also through those things. And if we are here to speak about me, about my job, my music, and maybe this effort was well done, no? I think.
And do you have any immediate plans for any feature film scores?
Yes, there is one, but everybody's speaking about this, but I don't know if I will do. I mean, I hope I will do. But we don't have a contract, we don't have anything. No, I can tell you just because you know him, it's Cozzi, it's Luigi Cozzi, the one I met so many years ago for Godzilla. And he's still a friend, or he's in the field of Argento. He's also a friend with Simonetti. But he asked me if I was interested. He's doing a crazy movie, really crazy movie. Something like autobiography. I've seen almost everything, and we are talking. I would like to do because he is one of the people that was then with me. Then I just ended a movie for another of my Italian directors, Vittorio Sindoni, a difficult movie about a boy, a young man with problems of mind. I mean, it's a very delicate story. And I don't know if this movie will go on cinema, but it's a great movie, and I think I wrote it's in Sicily. It's a story of the modern Sicily, a guy who is growing with so many problems, and the only thing he gives him some more thing is playing drums, and. Not an easy project. We ended a couple of months ago, and we are waiting to understand if this movie can be a story alive.
Now, most people are very familiar with the work you did with Fulci after this concert and the films themselves. But if you had to pick a film that people might not know about, that you'd like them to hear that score, what film might you pick?
Maybe it's a TV series called Le ragazze di San Frediano, from a book written from a great writer. It's the end of the war in Florence. San Frediano is an area of Florence, and this is the end of the Second War over there. And why I tell you this? Because this is maybe a more classical side of my music, but I love so much, and I do in my Rewind concert, which is my autobiography, and maybe one day I will bring it over around. It's a little thing, it's like a recital. But in Le ragazze di San Frediano has a very calm, very essential music, strings, things, so very popular. But I think that it's one of the most beautiful things I've written. And then also Saint Frankenstein is going out just now. It's 17 minutes, so it's short. But also over there, the movie is very, very beautiful. I suggest everyone to take a look. And my music is not bad. I think it's not bad.
So is there anywhere to find that TV music for people who want to hear it?
I think that Le ragazze di San Frediano, you say. I don't know if it was Rai 1 Italian, but it's not easy. There is, I think, but maybe it's not more in commerce. I think there is the CD. And maybe somewhere you can, in some market. And I think that it's not so bloody, obviously. But I think that could catch some feeling, and also in my friends all over the world.
And last thing, who are the biggest influences on you in terms of your music?
Many people. You know that my joke is always to say Johann Sebastian Bach and Beatles. I always, because it's a claim nowadays. In fact, I can say I love I love so many musical kind. Basically, Morricone, Trovaioli. Many I used to learn to hear when I was young. My dad was a cinema man, was a distributor, so many records in house. Signor Frizzi, my dad. Here you are, the new. When I was 5, 6, and you eat music. You eat music. And then I can say Beatles really. I loved so much, and I still love. I still sing Beatles, Paul, John, George. Tonight we will be here. A friend who was a great friend of George, Ken Scott, was a producer of David Bowie, Beatles, and so he's a friend of mine, and he's coming to Abertoir tonight. And when he told me something about George last year, it was so incredible, because we loved those guys. I mean, we were grown together with them. But I can say I love so many. For writing Fulci, I had mostly great musicians, because you must have a great musician with many, and they must come from many fields. So, for example, I'm not a great fan of Pink Floyd. I love, but not my maniac. But many of my musicians love Pink Floyd, and they play with this feeling very very airy, and there is not only one. Maybe tomorrow I will listen to something and I will say, I want to do something like this.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time.
It's always a pleasure, you know.
Thanks for listening to my first overseas edition of the KPBS Cinema Junkie podcast. I'll have more from Abattoir for you next week. So until our next Film Fix, I'm Beth Accomando, your resident cinema junkie, signing off from Wales.
KPBS On Demand is supported by UC San Diego's Art Power, presenting cellist Joshua Roman, performing from his album Immunity, alongside music by J.S. Bach and more, Sunday, June 22nd at UC San Diego's Epstein Family Amphitheater. Reserve your tickets at artpower.ucsd.edu.